guys, and welcome to another kit review. Okay, so today we're having a look at a kit from Roden. Kit number is 807, it's in 1/35 scale. It is their model of an Opel 3.6-47 Omnibus. It is a model W39 Ludewig built, an early type German army bus basically. Okay, so box art, quite nice. Travelling on a forest road, driving past an 8-wheel command vehicle, which is definitely knocked out because it's got no wheels on it. Okay, so that's the box top. On the side you'll find warnings in 7 different languages. On the other side you will find 3 different schemes. So you've got, this one is in the Ukraine, all over grey it looks like. This one is Africa, all over dark yellow. And this one is supposedly Western Front ambulance, in all over yellow with green camouflage stripes. Okay, and then you've just got Roden's address. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Alright, we will have a look at that. That's nice. And let's have a look and see what's in the box. Okay, put that away. First thing we come to is how good. Alright, so the instructions and the decals are in their own plastic bag. Okay, so put those aside and we'll have a look at those shortly. Reasonably solid box. Wouldn't say super solid, but so first bag we come to: rubber tyres, wheels, and I would say seats. It certainly looks like the seats. Yes, definitely the seats are in here. So we'll put those aside. Next one is one bag. You've got some very delicate 3 sprues in here. So this is the body of the bus and the top of the bus plus the bottom, and in the middle you've got all the really delicate stuff, which is, from what I can see, okay, the roof rack, steering wheel, and all the really delicate bits and pieces. Okay, and that's what you get. 2 bags full of sprues. So we'll put those aside and then we will have a look at the instructions, and I will take all this stuff out of the bags. Alright, see you in a minute. Okay, so welcome back. Alright, so let's have a look at the instructions first. So, as I said, they were in a plastic bag. Okay, so were the sprues. The bags were extremely flimsy. Luckily, I've got resealable bags that I put all my review kits back into, put them back in the boxes, save for another day. Alright, so what we have here is the history of the vehicle itself: Russian, English, German. Okay, as well as technical data. That's the first page. And then we come to an interesting inclusion. Of course, you won't even see this, so maybe I'll move that out the way. You will see by the shine, but that's about all you'll see. These are the windows. It is a, well, it's called photo film by some. I call it cellophane film. Basically, these are the windows for the bus. So I'll see if I can give you a close-up shot of that without too much reflection later. Put those aside. Anyway, on with the instructions. Right, sprue layout, paint guide, they use Vallejo, which is fortunate because that's basically the only paints that I use, because I like their colours. I like the fact that everything cleans up in water, and unlike a lot of people, I've never had a problem with them, ever. Anyway, usual warnings up top here, and then once you've had a look at your spray layout, and we get on with it. Right, so vehicle has a basic engine, okay, radiator, wheels, axles go together, front of the vehicle. Then next step, we're already up to step 10 by the way, so you cut through this fairly quickly. Chassis, engine goes on, exhaust pipes, axles, suspension goes on the bottom of the chassis. Then we come to driver's seat. Okay, bottom of the vehicle gets the mud guards etc. put on, and then you've got all the internal seats for your passengers. So you've got two front seats that need to be put together, then your internal seats go in. Fairly simple, straightforward construction. Okay, painting etc. is detailed as you go through. Right, so as you can tell, this is your instrument panel, pedals etc. Alright, so it does detail colours. Steering wheel goes on. Okay, floor goes on to the chassis. Then you come to the back of the bus. Yeah, there's always plenty of room down there. Okay, so this is where you put in the first one of your and I'm going to call it cellophane, but want of a better word, windows. And they will be tricky because you have to cut them out of that sheet and cut them precisely so they'll fit. So using those kind of windows, very scale authentic, but not an easy thing to put in without smearing glue on. So extreme care putting the windows in. And then we come to the sides of the bus, same again, windows in the doors, same, extreme care putting the windows in. You have to cut them out individually and then glue them in without putting a fingerprint on. Very, very tricky. Okay, and then put the whole thing together, sides, back, roof. Okay, so you would want to have the whole insides painted first before. Okay, and then you do have the three different types. As I said, you've got your grey for the Ukraine, you've got your dark yellow Africa, and you have your dark yellow green for Western Europe. Okay, so here you come to putting the fragile roof rack on, doors, which you could leave open if you wanted to, bonnet, which looks like, from what I can see, you could leave it open so you do get a view of the engine, although you'd have to detail the engine a bit better than what they have done. And then accessories, jerry cans, tools etc. on the front. And after that it comes down to, your basic colours. As I said, Ukraine autumn 41, Africa autumn 42, and Western Front summer 44. But of course, with a bit of reference to the internet, you could almost paint this any shade you wanted to and any camouflage scheme you wanted to. Right, so this tells you where to put all the decals, if you want an ambulance one or not. So a lot of these buses were used up until the end of the war. You'll see a lot of film on YouTube etc. of German units surrendering and using buses to transport their soldiers. Okay, so that's the instructions, and these are the Decals. They look fairly fine, quite crisp and clear, so they're not too bad. I do like the inclusion of the command insignia as well, so I'll give you a close-up shot of those, and also the windows, and in a second we'll have a look at the sprues. Okay, here we are back again. Let's have a look at first sprue. Right, top of the bus. As you can tell, this is basically the size. You're going to have bonnet sticking out here and the rear of the bus here, so it is a decent sized model. Alright, basic floor, not much detail on here. Nice crisp detail on the roof. This is your driver's instruments. There are decals to go in here, so detail is reasonable. Wouldn't say yeehaw, but reasonable. On the inside, no detail whatsoever inside the roof, so if you can find a reference photo that shows you what it looked like on the inside, if you want to detail this up, it's probably a good idea, because you could be able to see through those windows quite easily. Okay, so that's that one. That one. Right, so next sprue. Okay, so nothing there. Okay, that's the most fragile part. That is your roof rack, and that will take a lot of care to get it off without destroying it. It's already broken here because it was in the middle of two other sprues, so the packaging leaves a lot to be desired as far as that's concerned. Engine, reasonable detail. Add a few wires for spark plugs, etc. Will come up really nicely. Crisp detail on the diff. Very fine, very fine and very small details here. These are your racks, tools, alright, drive shafts. Alright, very fine detail on that. So, decent, solid chassis to keep the whole thing together. So that's good. That's good. That's good. Alright, next is this one. Sides of the bus, including the back. Nice detail. Crisp. Right, crisp panel details. Nice big windows, like I said. So you would want to have a look at, if possible, any kind of photos, etc., which show the inside of the bus, because that's what you see. Alright, you've got mold marks, indentations, etc. on the back, on the sides, doors, everywhere, which will need cleaning up, but no detail. Alright, you got detail on the outside, nothing on the inside, so there would have to be some sort of detail on the inside of these things, and the windows are large enough that you could see. Anyway, apart from that, little bits of flash, but not a huge amount. The detail's quite crisp and fairly clean. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one. so what we've got here, and there's not much detail on these, the seats. Alright, there's the front seat for the driver and the driver's assistant. But as far as the passengers are concerned, no detail at all. So you'd want to have a look at the real bus and see if there was any detail in this. I find it hard to believe there weren't any cushions or anything in a bus. Well, then again, military bus, you never know, do you? Anyway, so that's it. And yes, there are mould points on the back of the seats which will need filling. You will be able to see those. So there is a bit of work in this. Okay, it concerns me that this particular sprue is bent. That could be just packaging, or it may have been put in packaging while it was still a little bit warm, and that could cause problems down the track. Right, so next we have two sprues, exactly the same. The wheels, suspension, they look crisp, small details I like, but yep, really nice detail on the wheels. Bolt details quite sharp, not much flash, so there's not a great deal of flash, but there is a lot of moulding pips that will need to be removed, and some very fine things like windscreen wipers which will need care being removed. So two sprues of those. Okay, I like the detail so far. Last sprue is, and unfortunately, again, due to packaging, the windscreen is broken. So packaging on this needs to be looked at. Alright, it looked solid enough, but this has been bounced around in the mail because I bought it online, and it hasn't survived very well. Good detail on the radiator that I like, don't like that. Okay, that's two fine details that I've seen already, so that's a packaging problem more than anything else. And last but not least, the rubber tyres. Okay, detail is good. You do have, again, moulding pips on the inside of the tyres. I don't know about the tread pattern. That looks very wrong, the tread pattern. Okay, so that will probably have to be looked at. In fact, I don't think that's accurate at all. Something they'll need to check out on the internet. Right, so you do get 7. That's 6 tyres on and a spare. Okay, and that basically brings us to the end. Not a great deal to this one. Okay, as I said, the challenge will be the windows, because they are basically not even hard plastic, so they'll be cut to size and you'll have to glue them in without getting glue on them. That will be a challenge, and getting some of the finer parts off for the tools, etc., especially the roof rack, which, like I said, is already broken. That will be a challenge, but definitely if you can pick one of these up, I think this cost me about $40 Australian online. Was an auction one, and a reasonable price. They're hard to get in Australia. Haven't seen too many around. Don't know what they're like in the rest of the world. Unusual subject. Okay, German bus. You can use it in any theatre of war. Definitely one for the collection. I wouldn't hesitate to say, if you see one, reasonable price, definitely add it to your collection. If you're into 1/35 scale, this is a no-brainer, something different. Anyway, that's my bit. That's the end of the review. Hope you got something from it, and until next time, see ya.